will be on the general election ballot despite an attempt to block her candidacy by an ally of current Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
The saga surrounding embattled South Suburban politician Tiffany Henyard.
Tiffany Henyard's political career has become a whirlwind of drama, controversy, and questionable decisions, earning her a reputation as the so-called super figure in the spotlight.
Not at the hearing here today, neither was her attorney, and she was not made available for a...
Let's set the scene. Tiffany Henyard, who currently serves as both the mayor of Dalton and the Thornton Township supervisor, has been embroiled in constant controversy since taking office. From allegations of financial mismanagement to a federal investigation that spans taxpayer-funded luxury trips and questionable spending tied to her namesake charity, Henyard's reputation has been battered time and again. Despite this, she is pushing forward with her re-election bid, positioning herself as the leader Dalton needs, even though many residents believe she's unfit for the role. Her latest move, assembling a so-called ragtag all-female team to support her campaign, sounds bold and empowering on paper. However, in practice, it has raised more doubts than confidence. Critics argue that this team is less about qualifications and more about optics, seen as a transparent attempt to deflect attention from Henyard's growing scandals. Critics of Tiffany Henyard aren't buying into the hype surrounding her all-female team, dismissing it as a calculated attempt to manipulate public opinion and shore up her increasingly fragile political position. Some residents have gone so far as to accuse her of using these women as mere props in a larger strategy of distraction. If she thinks putting together a team of women will make us forget about the negative balance in the village's bank account, she's got another thing coming, one Dalton resident said during a heated town hall. This sentiment has been echoed on social media, where discussions about her team are filled with skepticism and humor, with one user sarcastically dubbing it the super squad of excuses.
Democracy, and it's about hypocrisy.
I really think it's very hypocritical.
Tiffany Henyard's strategy might actually work with some voters. By aligning herself with an all-female team, she's tapping into a narrative of empowerment and progress that could appeal to those who feel underrepresented in local politics. It's a smart move, especially in a climate where voters are increasingly drawn to candidates promising change and inclusivity. However, critics argue that Henyard's actions don't align with her rhetoric. This isn't about empowerment, one political analyst said. It's about survival. Henyard knows her scandals have damaged her reputation, and she's trying to rebrand herself as a champion for women to deflect from the controversies. What makes this even more intriguing is the stark contrast between Henyard's public messaging and the reality of her leadership. While she presents her team as a group of capable women ready to transform Dalton, the village's residents are still dealing with the fallout from her administration's financial mismanagement. From unaccounted expenses to allegations of taxpayer fund misuse, these unresolved issues have left many wondering if Henyard's new team is merely window dressing.
Again, no comment from Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Voters here will first head to the polls in February for the primary election, then the general mayoral.
Let's talk about this team. The lineup includes Linda Terrell, Tina Hughes, Jocelyn King, and Vanessa Wesco, all vying for key roles in Dalton's government under Henyard's leadership. Each member has their own unique backstory, but together, they're already facing heavy scrutiny over their qualifications, or lack thereof. To start, Linda Terrell is described as a licensed educator with decades of experience in Illinois banking. But her bio raises more questions than answers. She claims to have been a Dalton resident for 35 years, while also stating she's only lived in Illinois for 30. Either she's hiding a time-traveling secret or someone didn't bother proofreading her bio. And don't even get started on the grammatical errors in her credentials. It's a mess that only adds fuel to the fire for critics who accuse Henyard of surrounding herself with unqualified allies. Next up is Jocelyn King, who describes herself as an overseer of 8 departments and a $20 million annual budget at Thornton Township. Overseer alone has sparked plenty of eye rolls and sarcastic commentary online, with many wondering if it's just a fancy way of saying she was in the same building as the departments she claims to supervise. King's vague and inflated credentials feel like something straight out of Henyard's playbook, making it hard not to wonder if the mayor had a hand in crafting her bio.
He's one of the most recognizable faces that's been on the news lately. I'm talking about the mayor of Dalton, Tiffany Henyard.
And all of...
Let's not forget the controversy surrounding Henyard's own background. Despite touting her position as the youngest and first female mayor of Dalton, she spent much of her term mired in scandal. From allegations of embezzlement to reports of unaccounted for funds, including the infamous $40,000 spent on Amazon purchases in a single day, Henyard's leadership has been anything but stable. Her office's finances were even investigated by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who uncovered a massive negative balance of over $35 million in the general fund. And yet, Henyard S.A.
It's a little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
Wow.
Let's talk about the title of this, because it's called Super Mayor, and that is what Tiffany Henyard calls her.
Anyone who would get on a ticket with her is deemed to be suspect, and honestly, can you blame them? Henyard's reputation is in such a state of disarray that aligning with her seems less like a smart strategy and more like a career-ending move. One commenter posed the question on everyone's mind: have I missed something? How is this woman not in jail and still running for office?
Fights in Thornton Township and in Dalton. Except in one case, Tiffany Henyard wants on a ballot, while in another, a Henyard ally was looking to keep her opponent.
Adding to the skepticism is the lack of transparency around how Henyard selected her team. While most candidates typically highlight the vetting process or qualifications of their running mates, Henyard has remained silent on why these particular individuals were chosen. This has led to speculation that loyalty, rather than competence, was the primary factor in her selections. When your leadership is crumbling, you don't pick people who will challenge you, you pick people who will follow orders, said a political strategist familiar with Dalton politics. This perceived lack of merit-based selection has only deepened suspicions about whether Henyard's team is equipped to tackle the village's growing list of problems. But Henyard's allies aren't the only ones facing backlash. The mayor herself is still under fire for her handling of the Thornton Township Democratic Caucus, where she was unceremoniously removed from the ballot for supervisor. Henyard has since filed lawsuits claiming the caucus was illegal and riddled with voter suppression. However, her critics argue that this is just another example of her tendency to cry foul whenever things don't go her way. State Senator Napoleon Harris, who chaired the caucus and ultimately secured the Democratic nomination, dismissed Henyard's claims as baseless, calling her lawsuit garbage.
How much the viewership has gravitated towards this woman. Like, people from all over the world are talking.
Yet Henyard remains defiant. In her own words, "The people will put me on the ballot." But will they? That's the million-dollar question as Dalton heads into its next election cycle. Henyard's challengers, including current village trustee Jason House, are positioning themselves as the ethical alternative to her scandal-plagued administration. House, a lifelong Dalton resident with 8 years of experience on the board, has pledged to prioritize ethics reform and restore trust in the community, two things that Henyard's administration has sorely lacked. To make matters even more complicated, Henyard's federal troubles aren't going away anytime soon. The ongoing investigation into her office has revealed everything from lavish taxpayer-funded trips to a poorly attended concert that somehow cost over $85,000. Add to that the fact that her cancer charity has been accused of failing to disclose how it spends its funds, and you're left with a politician who seems more focused on self-enrichment than serving her constituents. At the end of the day, Henyard's political future hinges on whether Dalton residents are willing to overlook her scandals and give her another chance. Her new team may help her project an image of change and progress, but for many, it feels like too little, too late. As one local resident put it, the real business isn't being done.